Hey ballers, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today, it's been a long time coming, but it's a clutch update day, so we're going to show you how clutch 16 went. Now, remember this is clutch 16 from 18. What that means is clutch 2000, or clutch number 16 from 2018. I know it's 2019 now, but we're updating some of our last babies, clutches 16 and 17 still from last year, and we'll get to those 2019 clutches when we, have some. We're still in January, none yet. So, without further ado, let's start with clutch number 16. And the first snake we're going to look for is 1601, which is this little guy right here.
Could you tell us what the parents were?
Also gave us a fresh shed. Of course I'll tell you what the parents are. It is a bumblebee to a calico. So, nothing overly crazy, but there are some things that I really wanted. And this one, this 16, you know what, I never actually put the sex list on these. We'll just sex them all for you on camera. This is just a really nice spider. And again, if you look at the lines, this is exactly what we look for in spider. Very reduced fat pattern. Not a lot of dots. Good speckling and white on the sides. And as you can see, it has really good control over itself. It's not like having problems. If I set it upside down, will it stay upside down? Yep, but I'll tell you what, so will a lot of snakes. And it has no problem flipping itself over when it wants to. It's just kind of hiding the ball. So when it's hiding the ball and hiding its head, direction really doesn't matter much to it. So let's see if this little one is a boy or a girl. One thing you're going to notice on this clutch is this is a good size snake. Not all of them are going to be as good size. Look at that little girly girl. Little girly girl. So I'll just go ahead and mark female there. I'll update my records while we do this. Record keeping is important. We should do an entire video on that one day. But some of them ate really well and some of them didn't. And that's kind of what's delayed us on getting this video out, is how well the babies were each doing. And that'll get us to 1602, which now I've got to find 1602. See, Kurt's going to give me crap because I'm like, oh, I can find them all. Here is 1602 right here. And this is one of the smaller ones. This snake appears to be going into shed right now. Set that out the way there. And this is one of the reasons why we haven't updated this clutch. I want you to take a quick look at the snake. You're going to notice it is a little bit on the skinny side. You are going to start seeing some rib exposure. This is an animal that just has not thrived for us yet. I did not force the issue this time because, well, it's in shed. However, we have been having to assist feed this snake, so that's why it's kind of skinny. It's taking small meals. It's getting assist fed about every other time, trying to make sure it's getting some food in it. And believe it or not, its body condition has improved because, although it is still thin, I'm not going to deny that, you don't see the tail having like, skin flaps on it. You also don't see it too caved in. There's a little bit of caving in, but this one also had an impaction that it could not pass. It was not coconut litter impaction. It almost looked like a little bit of hard belly that was stuck in there that we didn't realize was stuck, that everything was kind of bypassed until it blocked up. So we did have to palpate that out of the snake. So this snake here has truly rode the struggle bus of life. However, I don't like to quit on them. So we have been kind of working with this. It is passing its own stool now. It's still not eating on its own, and you're going to see that it's quite small. And it wasn't born large, but it wasn't born super tiny either. It was kind of a, well, I don't remember the exact birth weight, but it wasn't like a 30-gram baby, and it's still only at 66 grams, and I believe it was born probably in the 50s or 60s, so it's kind of maintained, where that other one I pulled out is probably closer to 100 grams. We'll go ahead and see what sex this little one is. Don't you poop on me. And that one, I'm not even going to call yet because there's a little bit of red color in there, and I'm not using a large amount of pressure again because the snake's a little on the delicate side. So I'm not really going full bore at it, and I don't want to until I can feel more confident. So we're going to call that still an unknown. I think it's a girl, but I don't feel good enough about it to say, hey, it's a girl. And what that is, I guess I should tell you that too, before I put it up, huh? This is a calider, which means it's a calico spider. And if you look, there's a lot more white on this snake, especially when you get down in here, versus normal spider. And you can also see that gold highlighting all around on the black. That is a telltale sign, and that pattern just gets kind of wonky on the back third. So definitely has spider in it. Really cool little calico spider. Or called a calider, which will bring us to 16. Oh, alright, not 16, 180603, which is right over here. And now again, you're going to look at this snake. It's way, way larger than that other one I just showed you. I will give you a visual on that, just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about when one rides a struggle bus, why it kind of delays these videos. Well, the other ones are doing great at 146. So there you go. That's kind of the thing. What we'll probably end up doing, for those of you who are going to see the Patreon version of this too, is we'll probably release this clutch, but not release that calider yet, just because that calider is going to need some love and attention. But I want to go ahead and get the rest of these released to you. What this is just a simple little pastel. Really nice color. You can see, very bright. A lot of orange in there. Let's see. Boy or girl, Kurt?
Boy.
Kurt's going to bet on it being a boy. He's playing the law of averages. And I think he's right. And you're saying, but man, I don't see any major peens in there. But you see all that red? When I take that pressure off, how it still goes back in a little bit? I'm going to say this is probably going to be a male. Boop. So we'll go ahead and put this one in. He'll need a recheck, and they all get a recheck too before we ship them out anyway. I don't think it's a very well endowed male. 181604. Now this is a cool snake. This we have listed as a bumblebee, but man, those colors are exceptional, right? This is a good looking snake. And I'll put this weight on there for you just because, again, that one that you saw at 66 and the rest of the clutch is all doing around that 140. All right, what do you think it's going to be, Kurt?
Boy.
Boy? That is a girl. See those nodules stay out? You want to take off pressure? They're not going back in. There's no coloration there. No obvious peens there. I do believe this little bumblebee to be a female. And a really nice example of a bumblebee while we're at it. Put that back in there. Next up, 181605. You want to eat my face, I can tell. Woo! 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 Bitey, bitey, bitey. Now this is just a spider. You can see there's no calico influence in that. Doesn't have a whole lot of white on the sides, but really, really nice pattern again. You can see it's got a male in there. She is a little bit, I say she, I'm just going to, this one is a little smaller than the bumblebee I just showed you, but and a little more angry. If you like them feisty, this is going to be your snake. That's a boy. Let me double check that. That came out a little bit funny. Yeah, I think we got a little boy there. This is not the most well endowed of clutches, that's for sure. Really cool head on that spider. And look at this. So now this spider is pretty fired up, which is kind of cool, because let me show you a few things. One, its head wobble's doing fine. Two, it's not rolling a ball. So if I flip it over, oh my god, look, it righted itself. Everyone's like, oh, spiders can't right themselves. Let's try that again in the interest of proving a point while I overly stress a snake needlessly. It's instantaneous. It does not have issues. Again, the wobble has varying degrees, and the severe wobble animal probably shouldn't be bred. But when you work with these and you don't breed severe wobbles and you know what you're looking for and you know how to keep them, you don't end up with a lot of problems, guys. I mean, you just don't. Hi. Okay, you ready to go back home? You're like, yeah, leave me alone. You're a butthole. So that'll bring us to 180606. Oh, This is a great one. This is a great one. Woo! You're just gonna be a pain in my butt. There we go. Okay. This is one of my more fired up animals. And this is a calidee. Not a calidee, sorry, a calibee. So we have in here is this is a triple. So you've got the pastel, you can see the yellow. We have the bumblebee, or sorry, the spider. Which spider? Pastel is bumblebee. So you can see the spider pattern. You can see the yellow from the bumblebee. And then if you look at how much white's in this, you can clearly see it's got calico floating around, especially in the back part of this snake. You can just see it come all the way almost with the pattern, and the white is getting more and more intense. So this has definitely got all three of those genes. This is a snake that I've really wanted since I first saw them. It was one of those things on my I will produce and keep list, and not on my list of things I will buy. So we did. We finally made one. It took us, I think, 2 years, Kurt. Is that right? Was there 2 tries at this, maybe? Or just one?
2.
2? And then...
I remember because when we were doing it,
yeah, you're gonna try to
the reason why we bred it again this year is because we didn't get it last year.
Right. And then I repeated the same pairing because I really like pastel calicos, too. I just think they look really cool. And I have never made a pastel calico. I made calidees out the wazoo, 1 calibee, no pastel calico. So we're taking another shot in hopes to get a pastel calico and some more of these that we can share with people now that she's calming down a little bit. And again, you don't see a lot of wobble here. You can really see on her sides that calico influence. You can see how the lines just completely disappear when you get to that back third of the body. Just pure white down there. Really cool animal, and how high the sides are on the white, which is what's bringing that calico in all the way up to the spine almost. So this was the last, or second to last baby from that clutch. Let me put her up and I'll tell you about the last one. Oh, I know. You were intense, aren't you, Snake? Rawr, she says. And that one is a female. I know because when I was a keeper, I sexed it right away. So, the last snake in this clutch, which is 181607, was another little calidee that had a kink. And I can't show it to you, not because anything bad happened to it. It's actually doing really, really well. But what we did is on our Patreon page, we decided it ate great and it grew great, and it was more like those 140 gram ones and less like the one that's on the struggle bus I showed you. But it had a kink, so I didn't want to sell it, or I didn't want it to be used for breeding or anything else like that because of the imperfection. It wasn't a kink that's going to prevent that snake from living a full, healthy life. As a matter of fact, the kink is really extremely minor, especially when it's put on some weight. You can hardly notice it. It's just a little bump on its spine in front of the cloaca, not past, which is important because that does mean you got to watch it a little bit with meals and things that can get stuck. If there's any bends in there, you got to make sure things can pass through. So what I ended up doing with that snake is I kind of just said, hey, I'm looking for a Patreon member who needs a pet. You know, it wants this to be just a pet, with the understanding that it's just a pet, that it could never be bred, because it deserves a life. I brought it into this world, and it deserves a life like anybody else, but I didn't want to try to sell it for the normal price I would a calidee, just simply because of the imperfection. And somebody did step up to the plate, said their kid was wanting one for their room, and that would be perfect. And so that was what we did, and I've gotten update pictures of it. It's doing great and growing like a weed. I should have done this video before so I could have showed it to you, but I wasn't thinking when I sent to give that snake away and I shipped it out about the video. I was actually thinking about the most well-being for the snake. So I ended up doing that first. So hopefully you'll forgive me, because usually I always try to show everything, and you guys should know me well enough now that we always do full disclosure. So if something bad had happened, let's say that snake had died in my care, I wouldn't really hide it from you. I would just tell you. I mean, I just told you about one last week that died in my care, so I am not afraid to talk about that type of topic. But that was not getting shown because I already shipped it to a buddy who's got it living in his kid's room. Maybe he can comment on here and say it's doing great. I don't know if he can post a picture. I don't think he can in the comments. Kurt, anything you want to add about clutch number 16?
No.
All right, well, we're going to get out of here, slide over to Patreon, and put these up for sale over there. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.